Judge Merrick Garland has been the Supreme Court nominee for less than a week, but already finds himself in the middle of a bitter partisan fight. Judge Garland made his first trip to Capitol Hill earlier in the week to somewhat lobby for himself with Democratic senators, but some Republicans, like Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, they're saying they won't even meet with the guy. So joining me now to talk more about this is Larry Dubin. He's a law professor at University of Detroit Mercy. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what we know about Judge Garland. He's qualified. By all means, he seems able to do the job. He's a decent person. The president has touted his resume. So let's talk a little bit about him.
Well, he's been an appellate judge for almost 20 years. He was involved in major criminal cases. He had been a prosecutor. Is totally respected by both sides of the political aisle. Has not been involved in extremely controversial cases, but is kind of the middle of the road from an ideological perspective. Sure. So I think each side can like him for certain things and possibly have some concerns for other cases that he's been involved in. But in terms of, to give you an idea of the clerks that he's had since he's been on the Court of Appeals, the justices of the Supreme Court love to get Judge Garland's clerks to become their clerks because of how much they learn from him. So he's respected by everyone on the court.
But he's taking heat from both sides of the aisle. There are liberals who feel like, President Obama maybe could have selected somebody more diverse because he is a white man. He's 63, and they're going, maybe you could have gotten somebody, maybe a woman, maybe somebody African American. And then on the Republican side, you have Mitch McConnell who's saying, you know what, I don't want anything to do with this guy. I'm not even going to meet with him.
Well, I think that's why President Obama selected the right person. Had he selected someone who was too liberal, there would be no opportunity for that person ever to go through. He picked a judge who really is acknowledged by Republicans and Democrats as being clearly competent to be on the United States Supreme Court, so that the position against Judge Garland could only be a political one. It can't be based on his qualifications, and that's really what it's turned out to be.
Mitch McConnell talked about something called the Biden rule. It was something I'd never heard of, and he says there will be no hearing for Judge Garland citing this Biden rule. What does that mean?
Well, there is no Biden rule. What he's referring to is a speech that Joe Biden made many years ago when I believe it was Ronald Reagan's term was coming to a close, and he was talking essentially about the fact that if an opening on the court comes in the middle of the summer of a presidential campaign, that going through the process that the Senate has to go through in vetting a prospective candidate could get in the way of politics at that point. He certainly wasn't talking about a situation where a Supreme Court justice dies almost a year before the president's term runs out. And it was purely hypothetical. There was no actual circumstance that existed when he made that statement.
Right. Well, we should point out that there are some Republicans who have said that they will meet with him,
yes.
And particularly Chuck Grassley, who says, hey, you know what, I can meet with dictators in foreign countries. Why not? I can meet with this guy. He's a decent guy. Why do you think that is? Do you think that some of the Republicans are kind of softening their stance, or is it because maybe they're up for a re-election?
Well, I think there are a couple of reasons. I think some really understand that not following at least the normal procedures for a Supreme Court nominee by the president is wrong. It's just not the right, it's not the right legal precedent to set. The Constitution is very clear. Republicans usually try to get a candidate who is an originalist, who believes in interpreting the Constitution as it was meant to be observed by those who drafted it, who is an originalist, who believes in interpreting the Constitution as it was meant to be observed by those who drafted it. They're states, and they don't want to lose their Senate seat.
Sure. So what are the possible fates for the Garland nomination? Do you think it would ever be a situation where President Obama just said, I'm just going to withdraw, and Hillary Clinton wins in November, and then she nominates somebody that's more liberal?
Well, I think that's the risk that Republicans are taking, that if they don't vet Judge Garland, then they do run the risk of Hillary Clinton becoming president and putting forth a more liberal candidate. And I think that will show that it was simply a bad judgment on their part to not engage in the normal process.
What about a lame duck vote? Do you think that would happen?
I think that irritates everybody because it's illegitimate to say he's really qualified, but we're not going to say so until after the election. If he's qualified, a president under the Constitution has the responsibility to nominate someone, and I think the president took into account the fact that he has to respect the power, Republican power in the Senate in approving Judge Garland, and that's why he picked someone like him rather than a more liberal candidate.
Do you think it would ever be a situation where the GOP would budge just a little bit by giving him a hearing and maybe even a vote, but then voting him down? Do you think it would go that far?
Well, I think the danger of doing that is if they gave him a hearing, he would come across really well. There's no question about that. I don't think there are any secrets in his background that are going to emerge. And then if they vote him down, they're doing so on the merits. Now it's easier for them to say, this has nothing to do with Judge Garland. This simply has to do with the fact that we're not going to vet any candidate that the president puts forth because we should wait till after the election.
Just curious, what usually is the average time from nomination to confirmation? Is that?
Yeah, I would say usually between 60 and 90 days.
Okay.
And that's why they're saying that they would expect the president and the people who are supporting Judge Garland that this should be taken care of by Memorial Day.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate it very much. You do have the Constitution.
I do indeed, right here.
Right there in your hand. We have one of the clause, or a clause from it, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2. It says, the president shall nominate by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers, and counsels, judges of the Supreme Court. And I emphasize advice and consent of the Senate.
And that's as clear as it can be. There's nothing that needs to be interpreted by that.
That's very clear. Okay,
Yes,
we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much
thank you.
for joining us. And a big thank you to all of our guests today. And thank you for joining us for Flashpoint. Heart of Detroit. Have a great day, everybody.